Burn that ish down. Yet another very peaceful and tolerant protest that are just helping to redistribute the wealth of the bourgeoisie. Of course, nothing to see here at all. Yes, this is literally the way that some news organizations are categorizing the massive violent events that are happening throughout cities in the United States. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Luke Radowski of WeAreChange.org. A lot to get into, especially after the rioting in Minneapolis, which was caused by fake news. There is a lot of fake news happening right now that we're going to be going over in this independent media broadcast. A lot of hyperbolic, sensational, just absolutely ridiculous news that we're going to be quantifying here on this independent media organization. And a lot of this is possible for you for free every single day because of your support. One very easy way to support us is by checking out our store where we have hats, phone cases, new shirts coming in every week. And it's one of the ways where you could express speech that still can't be censored. And if you want to express the larger message of trying to prevent a civil war and let your fellow human being know that, we have a shirt for that. We're trying to keep, a lot of positive vibrations here as we advocate for proper mainstream media distancing. You like what I did there? Also, very important, this Sunday we are doing a survival and self-defense training course. Only this Sunday in Concord, New Hampshire. Attendance is limited, but you can still buy tickets through credit card or Bitcoin. All the links will be in the description down below. Now, I don't know about you, but I am left flabbergasted. I'm sometimes even speechless at some of the reporting that we're seeing from the U.S. mainstream media, specifically CNN, the, quote, most trusted name in news that last night was literally reporting behind a huge inferno, behind a business that was destroyed by mobs of violent individuals that are indiscriminately targeting citizens and businesses, stealing, robbing, looting, and burning them down. And they had a tagline that literally said, fiery, but mostly peaceful protests. Look at this poor man who most likely is indebted up to his eyeballs after he got his propaganda certificate from one of his indoctrination centers that cost him an arm and a leg, knowing that, oh crap, I'm going to have to spin this as somehow peaceful. You could even see the look of, oh man. You could see the dumbfoundedness even in his own face as he regurgitates what his bosses tell him to say.
Which were largely peaceful demonstrations in the face of law enforcement. It wasn't until night fell that things began to get a little bit more contentious. Things were thrown back and forth.
We just have a city on fire. It's just contentious. And it's predominantly because of the mainstream media and larger disinformation centers like CNN why we can't have nice things. But luckily, there is justice in the meme sphere, as of course everyone is rightfully ridiculing CNN and this quote journalist for of course pushing a political agenda rather than caring about the truth. And this is pretty disgusting that this happens from major institutions in our society, since of course there is so much human suffering associated with it and perpetuated by this act of obfuscating what is really happening. People are getting hurt out there. People are dying, and then still, rather than deal with the root cause, rather than tell the people the truth of exactly what's happening, you're lying about it to push for political power. And again, this is not just done by institutions on the left, it's also done on the right. It's mainly done by powerful individuals who don't give a damn about the average citizen and benefit off of a larger divide and conquer agenda, which has them fighting amongst each other rather than dealing with the real issues in our society that are actually causing pain and suffering. This is why, in my opinion, we are seeing such mega powerful institutions like JP Morgan Chase, Amazon, Walmart, sports organizations all rally behind this call because when people are fighting each other, they're not really looking at the true source of their problems. Now, the truth here absolutely matters. If you're able to know exactly what's happening, you're able to actually deal with a larger problem. And I do have to commend the New York Times that recently conducted an actual investigation into the recent shootings by Kyle Rittenhouse that recently happened in Wisconsin. And I have to say, even though I'm not a fan of the New York Times, they actually did a really good job when it came to telling both sides of the story. They highlighted how before this this incident, police officers gave Kyle and the groups he was associated with bottles of water and said that they appreciate that they were out there, and they were able to find more details that a lot of people did not see when the incident first happened, and that there was continued property destruction at the car dealership that Rittenhouse and his friends were stationed at before. They detail how Rittenhouse was being chased by a number of individuals for reasons still unknown, but during the chase when Rittenhouse was being confronted and was running away, there was actual shots fired from an unknown man with a handgun behind Rittenhouse as he was running away. They also show how Rittenhouse tried to turn himself into the police, and the police literally drove away from him right after multiple shootings that he just conducted. Now again, some of the details of what led up to this, what actually happened beforehand, are still unknown, but some people are arguing that these set of events as they unfolded show a clear case of self-defense, especially with Rittenhouse running away, being chased, gunshots behind him reacting, and then those tragic events unfolding. Other details that are emerging around this horrible event is the fact that the 3 people who were shot had criminal records. One was a convicted felon, one a registered abuser of children, another charged with domestic abuse. People from opposing political beliefs are bringing up the fact that Kyle Rittenhouse also supposedly had a criminal record of operating firearms while intoxicated, of failing to obey traffic officers, of being in possession of THC, but this seems very unrealistic as Kyle is still a minor, and this most likely is a case of someone with the same name as him, since of course the records of someone not older than 18 are not publicly available. But it is clear that Kyle did violate the law. Since he was 17 years old, he was not able to have a firearm. He brought that firearm through state lines, both illegal actions which will have a big impact on his case. Now, whatever your political leaning, whatever echo chamber you're seeing from the big social tech media algorithms is how you're going to be seeing this story. And again, this is a real life event that had real life consequences, and we have to call out bias from how we're seeing this story reported on, especially from institutions like the New York Post that are choosing to highlight how Kyle was cleaning graffiti before this shooting. Choosing to editorialize particular aspects while ignoring others deserves to be rightfully called out, and we have to stop trying to use these events with real life victims for political brownie points. It's ridiculous. It's disgusting. There's a big smear campaign filled with a lot of disinformation talking about how this 17-year-old was allegedly a white supremacist, came there to kill black people, when no black people were shot, and there's no evidence at all suggesting that Kyle was a white supremacist at all. Let's be honest here. Let's stop with the nitpicking. Let's stop with the bullcrap. Let's stop with the hyperbolic, racial divisive nonsense that's going to create more harm in this country. Again, countering one false narrative with a completely other false narrative is ridiculous. This wasn't a case, as some people are trying to make it, of, quote, disarming a potential mass shooter while black. What are you talking about? But the lunacy, the fake news, the disinformation is allowed on big tech social media monopolies that supposedly are fighting against it. They're allowed on the mainstream media. And of course, this lunacy translates to real life actions, as we see a very big political move made by GoFundMe that of course is pushing and supporting one narrative of this story, while of course censoring the complete other side. This also was a platform that bailed out many rioters and violent individuals that indiscriminately destroyed and attacked citizens' livelihoods, or violently attacked citizens themselves, previously raising $1.3 million in bail donations, helping free individuals that rained chaos onto the streets of major cities in the United States. Another important detail of the event that led to all of this civil unrest in Wisconsin is that we're finding out right now is that the Wisconsin Attorney General is saying that police officers recovered a knife from Jacob Blake's car. Other than this statement, the Attorney General office in Wisconsin has been very mum about this particular topic. Still yet another tragic incident that we don't know the full truth about, that pundits and politicians don't really care about, but are using for their own power. And with an already very confusing event, don't expect to get the full truth from these, quote, mainstream media organizations that, again, are just trying to obfuscate any details that don't work or push their narrative and the agenda that they want to force on you. Like this title that said Jacob Blake had knife and car, but was otherwise unarmed. Yep, just like the Titanic's voyage was mostly successful, and Hiroshima and Nagasaki were fiery, but mostly peaceful as well. Again, there should never be an excuse for reckless violence, no matter who does it. We should do everything in our power to prevent it, especially when it comes to all of these tragic events, and the reaction to them that is creating more tragic events. The looting, the property destruction, it matters. I know some people are trying to excuse it and say insurance companies will cover the damage. Well, again, people don't understand. Some people don't have insurance. Even if they do, the rates are going to go up. People had their entire livelihoods burned in front of them that they worked hard to keep up. They're going to lose months of revenues. They're going to fire employees. Even if they did have insurance, sometimes it's partly covered or doesn't even cover rioting and other damages that are not in the policy. And people aren't even going after corporate chains. They're going after small mom and pop businesses that have just been devastated by government protocol and now are being devastated by brainwashed individuals who think that this is somehow justified because the establishment excuses it, promotes it, or either just outright ignores it. And the politicians that cheer this on the most, well, their cities are suffering the most, especially in New York City, where subway service is down 75%. There's a big financial tsunami reckoning happening very soon, all because, not of a sickness, all because of a government. The New York City public transportation system is literally losing $200 million per week. This is an unsustainable, unattainable society that is being wrecked by lunatics. Individuals like Bill de Blasio that have literally set violent criminals on the streets of New York City. And again, just for the record, I'm all for prison reform. There deserves to be a real conversation surrounding that. But when you have violent thugs that are rapists and murderers released from prison, set onto the streets in the thousands, are you surprised when you're going to have mayhem in the city? Indiscriminate violence against innocent random individuals? Are you going to be surprised when this continues to happen more and more as violent crimes continue to escalate? And with a huge dumpster fire that they created, what are they focusing on? Stopping weddings. Yes. The governor of New York is vowing to stop a wedding because the quote doesn't have the right social distancing. Comedy clubs are being shut down that are doing performances outside of parks, and these criminals continue to hurt the innocent, copying the violent thugs that they cheer on and promote to do the same. They want you hurt. They want you to be a victim. They want you in their hellhole little prisons, and I refuse. This is, again, one of the major reasons why I launched my second project, which I'm going to play a short clip at the end of this video. Again, if you found this video helpful, if you found this video useful, if anything, at least I'm and of other few limited people are still around to call out a lot of this senseless violence. If you appreciate that, share this video with your friends and family members. It's more important than ever. Without you, I wouldn't be here. Love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on wearechange.org. I'm fucking breaking up for you. One thing